So there's this guy in Japan. His name is Takahiro Shiraishi, and back in 2017, he's 27 years old, living in this small apartment in Zama City, which is just outside Tokyo. Now this guy, he's about to become one of the most disturbing cases in modern Japanese criminal history, and the way this whole thing unfolds is absolutely wild. Let me take you back to October 2017. Police in Japan are investigating the disappearance of a 23-year-old woman who vanished without a trace. Her family is worried sick. They filed reports, and detectives are doing everything they can to find her. So they start going through her phone records, her social media, trying to piece together her last known movements and who she was talking to before she disappeared. And that's when they notice something on her Twitter account. She'd been having these conversations with someone, and the messages are kind of concerning. So the police decide to track down this account, figure out who's behind it, and see if maybe this person knows something about where she went. The digital trail leads them to an apartment building in Zama City. It's one of those standard Japanese apartment complexes. Nothing fancy, kind of run down actually. They get to the door of apartment 203 and they knock. A guy answers. This is Takahiro Shiraishi. He's calm, doesn't seem nervous or anything. Police ask if they can come in and look around, and here's where it gets crazy. He just lets them in, doesn't resist, doesn't argue, just opens the door. Now, when these officers walk into this apartment, they immediately notice the smell. It's bad, really bad. And the apartment itself is tiny, just a one-room place, maybe 200 square feet total. As they start looking around, they notice coolers. Multiple coolers are scattered around this small space. When they open these coolers, that's when they discover something absolutely horrifying. Inside are human remains, not just from one person, but from multiple people. The police immediately call for backup, seal off the apartment, and bring in a full forensic team. As they process the scene over several hours, they make a discovery that shocks the nation. There are remains from 9 different people in this tiny apartment. So who are these victims? They are identified as 8 women and 1 man, aged from 15 to 26. Most are young women in their late teens and early 20s, and everyone had been reported missing by their families over the previous months. Now the big question is, how did this happen? How did 9 people end up in this guy's apartment? The story gets really dark because the method he used to find these victims is something that could happen to anyone. Takahiro spent hours every day on Twitter, not just scrolling or posting random thoughts. He actively searched for keywords like want to disappear, tired of living, can't go on anymore, anything indicating someone was in a difficult mental state. When he found posts from people clearly struggling, he reached out. He sent direct messages saying things like, I understand how you feel. I'm going through the same thing. Or maybe we can help each other. Presenting himself as someone who understood their pain. But none of this was real. He wasn't struggling, depressed, or looking for help. He was hunting, deliberately targeting the most vulnerable. Isolated people in pain who felt they had nowhere else to turn. He built up conversations over days or weeks, gaining trust, making them feel understood, then suggested meeting in person. He'd say, let's meet up and talk about this, or maybe we can figure something out together. Because they trusted him, they agreed and came to his Zama apartment, hoping for connection or understanding. The moment they walked through that door, everything changed. Takahiro attacked them, took their belongings, phones, wallets, whatever they had, and then ended their lives. Police discovered the crimes had been ongoing from around August 2017 until his arrest in late October. Just 2.5 months, yet 9 lives were lost in that apartment. When detectives questioned him after his arrest, Takahiro was surprisingly forthcoming. He admitted everything, explained how he did it, and when asked why, he chillingly said it was for money. He sold their belongings. He saw these vulnerable people as easy targets. During his confession, he revealed some victims changed their minds after meeting him, wanted to leave, but he wouldn't let them, and proceeded with his plans. The youngest victim was a 15-year-old girl. She had her whole life ahead of her, but feeling alone, she reached out online for support and encountered this predator instead. When news of the case broke, it rocked Japan. Known as one of the safest countries with low violent crime, such a magnitude of tragedy sent shockwaves through the entire society. The media dubbed him the Twitter predator or the Zama apartment case. His face was everywhere, sparking a national conversation about social media safety, mental health, and how vulnerable people can be exploited online. Twitter responded, announcing policy changes in Japan. New systems were implemented to identify users expressing concerning thoughts and direct them to legitimate mental health resources instead of leaving them vulnerable. They added pop-up notifications that appear when people search for certain terms, connecting them with crisis helplines. The victims' families were devastated. Imagine your child missing, you searching everywhere, only to learn they were targeted by a predator who saw their pain as an opportunity. It is absolutely heartbreaking. The case went to trial. Takahiro's defense argued the victims had consented because they expressed not wanting to live. The prosecution in court rejected this, stating it was not about consent but predatory exploitation. The judge made it clear this was a predator deliberately targeting vulnerable people, gaining trust through deception, then harming them for his own gain. Evidence was overwhelming. Twitter messages showing his targeting, his confessions detailing the crimes, and physical evidence from the apartment, leaving no question about his guilt. In December 2020, after a lengthy trial, Takahiro Shiraishi was sentenced to the maximum penalty under Japanese law. The judge said he clearly had harmful intent from the start, systematically targeted struggling people, and showed no remorse. The case had a lasting impact on Japan. It changed how people think about social media safety, sparked conversations about mental health resources, and emphasized ensuring those struggling can find real help instead of predators. Schools began educating students about online safety in new ways. Parents became more aware of what their children might be experiencing and who they might be talking to online. Beyond policy changes and national conversations, at the heart of this case are 9 people who deserved so much better. Individuals who were going through difficult times and reached out for help in the only way they knew how. Who posted their feelings online, something millions do daily, and encountered someone who saw their vulnerability as an opportunity rather than something deserving compassion and support.
The lesson isn't to fear social media or stop reaching out when you need help. The lesson is to be aware. Be cautious about who you talk to online, especially if they suggest meeting in person. Not everyone is who they claim to be.
Most importantly, if you're struggling, reach out to legitimate resources, crisis helplines, counselors, therapists, trusted friends, or family. There are people who genuinely want to help and have the training to provide real support. This tragedy affected many families and shook an entire nation. The 9 victims were real people with loving families, friends who missed them, and dreams taken away. Remembering them means learning from what happened and working to ensure nothing like this happens again.